the morning star drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and feel your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm like this. I got my head in the zone, you know. I'm on the morning star drive, you know.
Hey, how's it going? It is Thursday, August 27th, and this is the Morning Star Drive on 117.8. We're on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe, follow us on SoundCloud, and make sure to support us on Patreon. Today we'll get some coronavirus updates, and on top of all the other troubles in America, a double hurricane is hitting the Gulf Coast right now, and answering some questions from listeners. So, how are you guys doing today? Some of you might be wondering, like, hey, aren't we supposed to do the Wednesday message, right? Because it's Thursday, right? But I've decided to switch the Thursday to the Friday. The time, Wednesday message is at night, and in order to prepare everything for the next morning, it's very, very difficult, and I go really deep into the night, just trying to prepare and record that. So I decided to switch the Thursday and Friday program. So Thursday will now be the question and answer, and Friday I'll do the Wednesday message, if that makes sense. And if you guys are upset about it, please write in the comments like, no, we don't like it like this, and I'll definitely think about it. I'll definitely think about it. But everyone's so thankful. It is Thursday, and we're heading into the end of the week. Inspiring message last night with the Wednesday service, and we're going to get to that tomorrow. But today we're going to do the question and answer. But I'm just glad that all of you here joining us here on the Morning Star Drive. Want to remind everyone, keep liking, keep commenting. I want to hear from you guys, see how you're doing. Also, for those of you that know, tonight's Bubble Talk, and it starts at 8 p.m. Malaysia time, and the title today is, does single equal lonely? Okay. And also this Sunday, we'll be meeting Aaron from America, who's living in Japan, and he's someone who's working in the education industry. And it's going to be an inspiring interview of his life, his path in this history, and what he plans to do for the future. Guys, you don't want to miss this one. It's really good. It's really, really amazing. I've talked to him before. He's just a genuine guy. So make sure you catch next week's Sunday edition, and don't forget this week's with Renee Lai. Now, let's get into featured artist of the day, and of course, the featured artist of the day, the first song is going to be from Renee Lai. I just, after interviewing her this week, stumbled upon her YouTube account, and she got tons of covers, right? And these are songs I've never heard before, but they are created by our very own member. So our featured artist of the day is going to be Renee Lai from Taiwan. She's going to be covering a song from, it's a Chinese song from a Hong Kong singer-songwriter named GEM, and the song is called Another Fairy Tale. The second song is going to be from the Sumney Boys, Tales of a Longing Heart album, and that song is going to be The Sound of My Heart. And of course, the last song from Paper Music Associates in Korea, we're going to listen to the hip-hop and R&B artist J. Root, and that song, one of my favorites, is called Now and Forever. So I hope all of you guys just kind of relax, open your hearts and your minds, support these artists from around the world, not just by listening, but also by praying for them too. So let's start and listen to these artists from around the world.
看你看我原地在走着，眼睛都睁着，而脑袋都睡着，每张脸都没多大区别，为什么这世界变得太机械？太多目光曾把人刺伤，让人心中的窗打开以前就关上，慢慢习惯化一样的妆，学见一样的腔，泪流以前就擦干。从小到大听着同一个童话，跟着大家渴望开一样的花，活得像一匹被勒住的马，心里多狂热也只能听话，为何独特会让人如此害怕？为何长大必须同一个步伐？可是我相信这世界之大，我只想寻找那属于我的，还未写的另一个童话，还未变天鹅的另一只小羊，只不过在
It's been a long time we've been separated and staying apart. As you can see at last, it's the time we were waiting for. Every day, every night when I pray, when I sing a song. Yeah, I made up my mind, I don't wanna lose you anymore. 수많은 시간을 참고 기다려왔잖아. 눈앞에 있는 그대 놓칠 순 없어 나. 간절한 이 마음 더 깊어지는 이 순간 이젠 그대와 함께 사는 거야 from now.
Yeah, I remember back in the days. In deep sorrow I pray. 편지 한 장 그 안에 담긴 사연. 힘겨운 하루에 작은 힘이 될 수 있다면 굳이 답장하지 않아도 난 괜찮아. 주위 모든 게 그대가 되어 나에게 전하. 구름과 햇살 그림자와 빗소리에 피어나 You and me another love story.
수많은 시간을 참고 기다려왔잖아. 눈앞에 있는 그대 놓칠 순 없어 난. 간절한 이 맘 더 깊어지는 이 순간 이젠 그대와 함께 사는 거야 from now. 그댄 어디쯤에 있을까. 유난히 밝은 저 반달이 누운 곳에 처음 반짝이던 마음이 다시금 빛날 때 가벼운 발걸음 어느새 그대 향해 넘어가는 달력에 숨이 넘어갈 듯 달려가네.
앞서는 걱정을 뒤로 해. 피곤해 지쳐있을 그땐 내가 필요해. 기도해 그땐 이별의 하늘 위로하며 슬퍼했지만 이제 양손을 하늘 위로 하고 소리쳐. 난 행복한 사람. 나의 영원한 행복은 그대가 내게 주니까.
수많은 시간을 참고 기다려왔잖아. 눈앞에 있는 그대 놓칠 순 없어 난. 간절한 이 맘 더 깊어지는 이 순간 이젠 그대와 함께 사는 거야 from now.
Yeah, today's the day I missed you so much my darling. 오래전부터 손꼽아 기다린 날이 내게 오다니. Is it a dream? No, it is real. 당신이 자랑스러워 하실 내 모습. Yeah, 내가 준비한 작은 선물 아직 많이 부족하고 또 아쉬운 것 투성이지만 이제 내 목소리를 고백하고 싶어. 그대의 눈을 바라보며 이 노래 들려주고 싶어. Yeah.
수많은 시간을 참고 기다려왔잖아. 눈앞에 있는 그대 놓칠 순 없어 난. 간절한 이 맘 더 깊어지는 이 순간 이젠 그대와 함께 사는 거야 from now. From now, from now and forever.
And that is From Now and Forever. That's from J Root. Obviously, that's from the Paper Music Associates over there in Korea. I hope you guys really enjoy that music. I really love that song. Is one of my favorite songs from J Root. Before that, we heard the Sumney Boys from the Tales of a Longing Heart album that just came out the last couple months. And that song is The Sound of My Heart. And the first song was from the featured artist of the day, which is Renee Lai from Taiwan. And she's covering a song from GEM called Another Fairy Tale. So I hope you guys really enjoyed those songs. Go check them out both on the YouTube channel for the Sumney Boys and also for Renee Lai. Cool. And that brings us into the coronavirus updates of the day. All right. So when we're looking at coronavirus updates, I know that a lot of us are going to be like, oh, well, it just seems like it feels like it's not very, well, you can't really say it's good news all the time, right? Because it's about the pandemic. And I know sometimes like, oh, it's kind of repetitive because but I think it's one thing is, it is really good that we begin to understand what is actually happening in the world right now. And it's good because we're able to kind of get a better idea of how things are turning out for each of the different countries. Okay, so we'll start off really, really easy with the world update. Bear with me, guys, because you know what? I know that this is not going to be forever. We're not going to be doing this for a long time. Well, a long time is relative to each person, but let's just get into this and understand how does it apply to us in this world also. At the moment, the coronavirus in the world has topped 24 million cases with 823,000 deaths, and the mortality rate is at 3.42%, so it went down. United States, leading everyone with 5.9 million cases, 182,000 deaths at 3.06%, so they remain steady. Brazil's at 3.6 million cases, 116,000 deaths at 3.18%, and they remain steady too. India, 3.2 million cases, 59,000 deaths at 1.84%, they went down. Next, Peru. What's Peru at? 607,000 cases, 28,000 deaths at 4.61%. Great news for them. They're going down also. If you look at Mexico, Mexico's at 568,000 cases, 61,000 deaths. They went up to 10.81%. So they actually went up in the mortality rate. Colombia's at 562,000 cases with 17,000 deaths at 3.18%, and they went down. Argentina, they're looking at 359,000 cases, 7,500 deaths at 2.1%, and thank God they were going up the other day, but they remained steady at 2.1%. Philippines, what's going on over there in Philippines? 197,000 cases, 3,000 deaths at 1.54%. They went down in the mortality rate. Good news. Sweden, the only country that didn't go into lockdown, and Sweden, they are at 6.69%, which means they went down in the mortality rate. And of course, last but not least is our wonderful Belgium. Belgium has the highest mortality rate in the world, and it's at 12.12%, which they went down again. Which means, what about daily infection rates? Now, this is something that's really important, just to know that how fast it is moving up in the world. But another thing you have to remember is, a lot of it has to do with how good their testing is. Because this spreads so quickly, you guys just need to understand, because it spreads so quickly, whoever does testing better is basically going to have the highest, right? So you have India right now on top with 66,000 cases at 2% growth rate. Brazil goes back to number 2 with 46,000 cases, daily cases with 1% growth. United States down to 40,000 cases at 1%. Colombia, 10,000 cases at 2%. Argentina moves back up to 8,700 cases at 2% growth rate. And finally, to top off the top 6, we have Peru with 6,900 cases and a 2% growth rate. So that's kind of what's going on with the coronavirus update. I hope that you guys will continue to keep, I'll update you as much as I can until this all finishes off, until we get a vaccine and everything just kind of just goes down, right? To like, it goes very, very low. So I'm really, we're all praying for this. Let's go into the current news for today. And I talked about something that's pretty serious right now. It's a double hurricane hitting the U.S., okay? They're going to the exact same area at the same time. They're supposed to landfall at the exact same time. It's never been seen before. At the moment, it's not going at the same time. It's actually coming one right after the other. There's Hurricane Marco and then Hurricane Laura coming right after that. Now, both of them were tropical storms, and they hit the Caribbean first. Well, they hit like Haiti, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and those areas first. But now coming up, they're gonna hit the U.S. I think Hurricane Marco is already hit. Now they started at tropical storms, and now they're moving into Category 1 hurricanes. Right? Marco is the first one, which is lesser, but Laura is supposed to be the big one, right? So Tropical Storm Marco, when you look at it, it's strengthened into the hurricane because of the warmer weather and the warmer water too. And it's going to hit the Gulf Coast, which is the states involved there would be like Mississippi, Alabama. Alabama, who else would be in there? Louisiana would be in there, and also Florida. That's kind of like the Gulf Coast area, but I do believe it's going to hit some other areas too. Tropical storm Marco, like I said, it's strengthening, and it's already hit ground on this morning or yesterday. And the last time they had two storms come in was in 1933. And it wasn't the same as this, because in 1933, there was a hurricane that came in first and then a tropical storm that came right at the same time, right after, right? They made landfall at the same time. However, we have never, ever seen two hurricanes hit land at the same time, okay? So, guys, if you're talking about judgment, you know, it's coming all at once. And I was looking at some of the news, and they're just like, you know, if it was another time, it'd be so much easier, but this is a time of pandemic and like civil unrest and, you know, it's very politicized and whatnot. And this is why it's hitting people really, really hard in America right now. So we really need to pray for them. Two hurricanes hitting land at the same time. So if these two hurricanes get too close to each other and they collide, there's something which is called the Fujiwara effect. And the Fujiwara effect means that they influence each other's paths, which means that it's very, very hard to predict where they go, right? Which means that they hit each other, and then both the center, the eye of the storms, can veer off into different directions. And that the reason why that's so difficult is because usually when a storm comes in, you get an idea of where the storm is going, and that's why you can kind of center where all the help is going. But if these two hit together, the Fujiwara effect is they can just completely veer off into different directions where it was unexpected. And or you can have one come right after each other or next to each other. But the biggest thing is it's very, very hard to predict what direction they're going. At the moment, it looks like Marco hit first, and Laura should be hitting pretty soon. By the time you guys get this, Laura probably should have already had landfall. Also, what can happen if one hurricane is larger than the other, one of them can be absorbed into the other, so that's kind of crazy. The uncertainty because of this storm surge, like one thing you need to know is hurricanes, there's something called a storm surge. And before a hurricane hits, there is a storm surge, or basically the water level increases in front of the hurricane. So before the hurricane comes, water level rises, or the water pushes towards the coastline, maybe up to several feet. And it's kind of one of those destructive forces that happens before the hurricane, right? Those of you who are in America and those of you who don't know, there was a Hurricane Katrina that happened maybe 15 years ago. And the crazy thing about that hurricane was the storm surge was 28 feet. The water rose 28 feet before the hurricane came in, right? And Katrina was a Category 3. In this case, looks like they're going to be both Category 1s. However, there's one right after the other, so we have no idea what exactly is going to happen. Like I said before, if you look at the Gulf Coast, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, are all going to be hit. For those of you who don't know also, the hurricanes have also killed, I believe, already 11 people in like Haiti, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, in those areas, right? So it is pretty impressive hurricanes. And another problem that happens, especially when you have two hurricanes coming in, is the allocation of emergency responders. After a hurricane passes, if it hits just one area, then FEMA just comes in and puts the resources into that one area. But if it's going to hit all the Gulf Coast states and we don't know where it's going to go, then FEMA has no idea where to put it, and you'd have to basically spread out your responders, which you may not even have enough. Another problem is power companies. Usually power companies are just hit in one area, not the entire Gulf Coast, which means recovery. If it's in multiple states, it's going to be a very slow recovery, and even right now, they're warned that it's coming, but because there's two, they're not sure how to do it. It's more important to be ready right now first. So a lot of areas in the Gulf Coast states are being told to board up their windows and to evacuate the areas, prepare with food and water and resources for up to 1 week. Expect 1 week without power. Hurricanes change power, strength, and direction quickly. So we're not even sure how or what's going to happen with it. Hurricane Marco has already hit land. Laura is not too far behind, but the Hurricane Laura is much stronger. So there is emergency declaration by the president, and mandatory evacuations are starting. Residents are racing to board up their windows, get out, get all their food supplies ready. Oil rigs are being evacuated, and urgent warnings are being issued everywhere in the Gulf Coast states. What's even crazier is this is the week of the 15-year anniversary of Katrina, so it's pretty, it's just a sober reminder of what happened 15 years ago. And flooding is the huge concern that everyone is having. Wind and rain for already 2 days, 3 days for Marco. Laura should be hitting already. And flooding and rescue is already happening in Puerto Rico, Haiti, Dominican Republic. Like I said, 11 are already dead. 200,000 have lost power already. Also, tornado watch is now starting because of Marco. Although it should be done by the time this podcast is done. Landfall was 2 nights ago. Landfall was 2 nights ago for Marco, and Laura's coming right after. So it's going to be quite intense, and I hope that we can pray for America and what is happening at the moment. Marco actually hit Mississippi first, right? And the path of Hurricane Laura looks like it's kind of going to hit Louisiana first, where they had Hurricane Katrina, and it might even move towards Texas, right? Which is quite interesting. So Laura has already hit speeds of 175 kilometers per hour. So just to let you guys know, this is something, it's not stopping. Like, when you think about it, guys, it's not stopping. It really, really isn't. Meaning this judgment is one after the other. It seems like something's going to end, but something else starts. It's everywhere, guys. We really need to pray for America, not just for the civil unrest, not just for politics, the politics. We have an election coming up in America too in November. On top of that, you have the pandemic. Yeah, there's just so many things going on, and it's got to be something that we really need to pray for and make sure that God's will is fulfilled. All right, and that brings us into a very important section for all of us here, which is the time for praise. I know that people want to praise after hearing these types of news, but we need to praise God regardless of the situation. So we're going to sing first with My Canaan into I Choose You. And the last song, one of my favorites, is All We Lived Through, from the past to the present.
countless stars, my love, I've chosen you. You are so amazing, you are beautiful. I chose you with the Trinity. With the deep stories you and I have shared, I chose you, my love. Beautiful, mysterious, the more I look, the more it's true. You shine now, you'll shine more as time goes by. Now let's give thanks, always sing praise, let's testify, giving glory to God. From among men, countless stars, my love, I've chosen you. You are so amazing, you are beautiful. I chose you with the Trinity. With the deep stories you and I have shared, I chose you, my love.
that is All We Live Through from the Past to the Present. What an amazing song. I hope you guys enjoyed that time of praise and giving glory to the Holy Trinity. My Canaan, I Chose You. And last but not least was All We Live Through from the past to the present, which brings us into a time of question and answer. It was supposed to be the Wednesday message, but like I said, just to make a little quick switch so I don't have to be up late into the night and have a really bad time of prayer, right? So please forgive me if you have any comments or not. Fine, if you know a better way though, but please put it into the comments and tell me what you think. So question today is about newcomers and members alike. And it's the questions about people having a hard time with the Sunday messages. Not saying that they don't understand it, but it's the transition from learning the Bible study to Sunday messages is like a stark difference, right? So how can we become more inspired and moved by the Sunday messages like it was when you were like so crazy inspired and moved by the Bible studies that you went through first, right? So a couple things you need to know is the Bible studies that we do and like the lessons that we teach. It's kind of like a sprint if you think about it. It's something where you're learning and it's so powerful because it needs to change your perspective and the way that you thought in the past, especially like Christians too, right? It completely destroys everything you built up for the last 20, 30 years, whatever, or 15, 20, like usually around 20 years for people, right? 20 to 30 years. You've been building up a certain way of how you believed and how you understood the Bible, but it's completely destroying it in a matter of just a couple lessons. And that's why those lessons are very, very powerful. They're very perception changing, perception destroying, right? And we need to understand that that's the whole purpose of it, is to bring people into the history. However, what is more important than that is your life after, okay? And one of the hard parts is when people have a hard time understanding the Sunday message, because the expectation is like we're expecting these truth bombs, like, like judgment of fire, truth bombs like what are the clouds, truth bombs like the holy sun, right? We expect these huge truth bombs to hit you in a matter of an hour, hour and a half, but it's not as big in that sense. The Sunday messages, the Wednesdays that we're hearing, and we need to know that in order for us to have a better, like the first thing I do recommend is in the beginning when you hear Sunday messages, a lot of you are gonna have a lot of people have trouble with them. It's like, what? I don't understand that. Why is it? What's he talking about here? Why is he talking about trees? Why is he talking about rocks? Why is he talking about these types of things, right? And there are several things that you can do to help you to understand the concepts and what the Sunday message is saying. And first and foremost is it's basically the Bible, and you need to know the principles really well when it comes to like Bible studies, fire, clouds, whether it's like principle of recurring history or gradual history, all these other different things. These are some things that are absolute musts that you should know them, absolutely. And the reason is because this is where the word comes from. Even where Sunseam is receiving the words, everything's from the Bible. It's all from the Bible, which means the less you know the Bible, the less you know the words, is the less you're going to understand the Sunday message, Wednesday messages, pre-dawn messages. Like, it's going to make no sense to you. It's like listening to a different language. Just like the first time when Sunseam went into the spiritual world, he's listening to Jesus speak, and when Jesus is speaking, he can't understand a single thing. In the same way, too, for us, we need to know that there's a foundational pieces that we need to know in order for us to understand the Bible better, understand the word on Sundays better. That's why there's always scriptures from the Bible, right? There's always these stories from the Bible, right? And that's why you have to learn and understand the Bible as our foundation, right? The Bible and the word that we've learned, those principles and those mind-shattering, perception-changing lessons, we have to know them really, really well, because if we don't, it becomes very difficult to understand the Sunday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Tuesday morning messages, Friday morning messages. It's very, very difficult. The way you have to look at it is like this. Birth is very fast, very quick, and very powerful. However, the harder part and the more important part is raising a child, which is a long road, going through lots of ups and downs. It's not quite like that love affair you have when you're with your wife or your husband, and then you have a child and a baby. That's all in a very, very short amount of time, within 9 months, right? 9 to 10 months. But when it comes to raising the child, it's like 30 years, 20, 30 years, raising them, training them, helping them, and giving them advice, going through puberty, going through school. It's a very long process. You have to look at those two in that way. Giving birth is like listening to the word right? Listen to the studies. And then raising the child or raising yourself is that long, arduous process of like raising a child, which is much, it's like 100 times longer. So if anything, you guys, the first advice I have for you to understand the Sunday messages really well, and number one is you need the foundation to understand the word and what it's saying, which means you need the same foundation as the person that delivers it, which all comes from the Bible. Even Jesus too, every message, at the time of Jesus, there was no New Testament. There's only the Old Testament and nothing else. And Jesus was speaking all from the Old Testament time, right? In the same way too, we have to realize that everything that we get now is from the Old and New Testaments, from the entire Bible. So we need to understand better by having a foundation of understanding where it comes from. And that's my first advice. Second advice I have for you is expectations, right? Like I said before, Bible study is fast and furious, right? Fast and furious. And Sunday message is daily life and slow. And it's something that's like a marathon. And we can't sit there with the expectation it's supposed to be this fast and furious Sunday message. No. It's like the difference between dating and marriage. Dating leads to the goal of getting married, and dating is not going to be as long as marriage. Well, if it's done right. And after you date with that, that love stage, that puppy love, and that, you have all that puppy love, and you have that crush, and, you just really have those feelings for each other, then marriage is the long process where you may not have those feelings all the time. And the reason is because dating is fast and exciting mainly because you don't see each other very often, right? Like, think about it. When you date, you don't live with each other, so you don't see each other all the time. You only see each other at night after work or maybe on the weekend or something along that line. So you don't see each other all the time, right? So every time you kind of yearn to find them and to see them again. But when it comes to marriage, you live with each other. It's an everyday life thing. And if it's an everyday life thing, it shouldn't be too, like, spontaneous, right? Too just all exciting all the time. You need time to rest and to break, right? And if you're meeting every once in a while, of course you're going to have these exciting new things happen all the time. But if you see each other every day, then you get to see all the good and bad of each other, right? Dating is just the experience that leads to marriage, and you shouldn't expect everything to be like dating, right? Marriage is what you want, which is stability and daily life. And when you come, after you pass and after you come into this history, it's the marriage stage. When you're getting married, what do you have to do? You should want stability, having a schedule, going to work. Exciting things don't happen every moment. It should happen every once in a while. If it's too spontaneous, there's no structure, it's too uncertain, and we're not sure what's going to happen next, when we're going to eat next, and we need some type of stability. It's like not having a real job and just working only when it comes up. You'll never know when you're going to eat next. You don't know if you have enough money, when you're going to work next. And it makes life really difficult. There needs to be some type of stability, and the stability comes from your daily life and your everyday messages that we get from the Sunday message, right? And this is why, like I said, number one is make sure you have the foundation of the Bible and the Word, and that will allow you to understand the message and what Sunday talking about every week much more deeply. On top of that, our expectations shouldn't be like exciting dating. No, it's marriage. Marriage is every day. Seeing each other every day. Learning about each other every day, right? It is something that is slow. It's like a marathon. And you have to live your daily life understanding you can't have crazy, exciting stuff happening every single moment. It shouldn't, right? I don't expect that when I go to work. I don't expect that when I'm driving. Like, what do you mean by crazy exciting? Like, there's going to be a tornado that comes in, all of a sudden rips through, and all these cars fly into the air? Like, no, I don't want that. We need stability in our life too. You need a good schedule. So I hope that helps you guys out when it comes to understanding how to, why it's different from learning the Bible studies and going to the Sunday messages. Sunday messages, in the end, it's about your daily life. Okay, so that moves us into the song of choice for the day. Song of choice. What is the song of choice for today? It is a request coming all the way from New York, from Sarah Brennan over there, one of our fanatical listeners. And basically, she requested this song, an oldie but a goodie. It's when she heard this week's message, this is the song that popped up in her head, and she must have an old soul because. I don't think, yeah, she wasn't even living when he was in his musical heyday, but it's Rod Stewart. I played a song of Rod Stewart's before. Rod Stewart, and the song is Have I Told You Lately That I Love You. Great song, and especially for, I love this song too, and for this song, I decided to play an unplugged version, so it's going to be live. So you're going to hear some cheering and stuff like that too. Great song. It's really, really, yeah, and it totally goes with this week's message too. So let's request all the way from Sarah Brennan over there in New York. This song is Have I Told You Lately That I Love You. It's an unplugged version from Rod Stewart.
Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one else above you? You fill my heart with gladness, take away all my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. For the morning sun and all its glory greets the day with hope and comfort too. You fill my heart with laughter, take away and make it better, ease my troubles, that's what you do. There's a love that's divine, and it's yours and it's mine, like the sun. And at the end of the day, we should give thanks and pray to the one, to the one. Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one else above you? You fill my heart with gladness, take away all my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do. Oh yeah. There's a love that's divine, and it's yours and it's mine, like the sun. And at the end of the day, we should give thanks and pray to the one, to the one. Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one else above you? Fill my heart with gladness, take away all my sadness, ease my trouble, that's what you do. You fill my heart with gladness, take away all my sadness, ease my troubles, that's what you do.
Oh man, that is Rod Stewart live and unplugged, and that song is Have I Told You Lately That I Love You. Oh my gosh, what a deep song. Well, if you guys, I'll post it. I'll post the video, but yeah, I think he's crying by the end of it. I think he misses someone a lot. I think it's dedicated to his wife, I believe. But thank you so much, Sarah, over there in New York. Great song. Love the song. So thank you so much for bringing that up. I think I had a little bit of tear in my eye, reminding me of my old days in high school. It's not even high school, actually. This is even way before that. So what happens now is we have a time where we're going to listen to a testimony from a member in Japan. Her name is Meg Tani in Japan, and she really wanted to share this with all the members here on the Morning Star Drive. Hello, everyone. My name is Meg Tani, and I'm in Japan. I've been working at a trading company in Tokyo since last year, and somehow I was assigned to another team from last month. Actually, I've been spending boring days before because I had almost nothing to do. Even if I didn't have any work, I had to go to my company every day. So I wasn't really satisfied. But after the coronavirus started, my company immediately started telecommuting. So now I didn't have to go to my company. Instead, I had so much time to invest in making myself spiritually. Since the beginning of March, I used time especially for preparing for the lectures. And at the same time, I preached the words to lives and prayed a lot for them. This is how I spent my 5 months. I've been making myself spiritually, so I've expected to be used spiritually after the 5 months. But now that the 5 months are over, I was assigned to another team in my company, and now just tons of work just fell on me. I was happy at first, but actually, I started to lose my confidence because the work was way too difficult for me. For 1 month, things didn't go well. I felt like my colleagues were disappointed in me. And also today, I was hurt by what one of my colleagues said, and I just couldn't stop tears coming down my cheeks. I even thought about changing my company. So I told what happened to one of my sisters in church, and she said, if you look at this week's message, God gave you work to do because He loves you. God gave you work because He relies on you through what you've done for the last 5 months. Hearing these words, I burst into tears, feeling God was surely looking at what I've done spiritually for the last 5 months. I finally realized that God uses me not inwardly, but outwardly to testify for the Lord in this world. Surely God's thoughts and my thoughts are different. Amen. Wonderful, and thank you so much, Meg, for sharing that with us. And I know that during that time of 1 month, it must have been so difficult. But I think what's worth it in the end is when we realize what God is really saying, or realize what God is doing for us. You know, there's a lot of different things and difficulties going on in life, but just like Meg, we need to hold on until the end when we hear God's voice. And when we hear God's voice, it's like, oh, this is why. All right. Thank you so much, Meg, for sharing that with us today. And I hope that many of you guys out there too, please feel free to keep sharing, send in your testimonies about things that you want to share, whether it's realizations or things you experienced during this pandemic time. All right. So everyone, it is Thursday. We have one more day left before the week is over. Tomorrow's going to be Friday. So I hope that everyone have a wonderful and amazing Thursday. And we'll see you again tomorrow here on the Morning Star Drive on 117.8.
It's the Morning Star Drive 117.8. You soaring up with sky, now's the time, don't delay. I'm sitting in my ride and it's time to fly. So let's realign, just listen and feel your mind.
I'm burning with desire and the passion. Nobody can stop me when I'm